A lot of companies are starting to take the health of their employees very seriously, because there's a lot of people who are in their 60s still working. And then there's people like me right at the start. So that is where Kit Kats are made. A little factory there. Well, it's a huge factory, but... Interestingly, I had my interview for this job in December 2012. And it was a few days after that, it was just after Christmas, that I noticed I had this lump on my throat. People have told me since that at my interview I'd asked for some water because I had a sore throat on the day, and I hadn't thought anything of it. I knew something wasn't right. I felt weird. I felt like there was a pressure in my head, and I felt very, very anxious. I could be walking along just through campus, and there would be, I don't know, somebody would have like loud heels on or something, and the noise would be inside my head. It was horrific. So I went to the doctor, and they agreed to see me straight away, which I didn't expect. And I explained that I had a family history of thyroid conditions. So my dad's mum, my grandma, had half of her thyroid removed a few years ago because she had hyperthyroidism. And so they rushed me through the private system. I got seen by a private consultant, and they again said, it's probably nothing. I'm thinking, well, it has to be something because it's huge, but just trusting their advice, it's probably nothing. So I had my first operation on the 14th of June, which was a Friday. It all went fine, there were no major issues, and I didn't need to take any medication at that point because I still had half a functioning thyroid. My follow-up appointment from that operation was on the 9th of July, and I said, you're going to tell me then? And he just looked at me and he said, well, we did find a bit of cancer in there. And that's the way it was delivered to me, was we found a bit of cancer in there, which was quite shocking. I got home on the Tuesday night, just went to bed, tried to ignore it all. About 1 in the morning, I emailed Fiona, whose team I've been working in this year. She was my main contact at the time. And I just said, I need to come in and speak to you. I just told her, I said, I had that operation a few weeks ago. And she said, yeah. I said, it wasn't good. They said it was cancer. And then at that point, she did the sort of natural reaction, are you sure you're okay to work? And I said, I have to, because if I don't, I'm going to have to think about this, I wouldn't say, I've been doing nothing this year, but I haven't had all the tight deadlines I would have had. I have had deadlines, I've had to do things, I've had to make sure things were done, I've had to travel to certain places, but I've been able to, I've been able to work it around how I'm feeling a lot of the time, which, yeah, I don't know if I would have got that opportunity elsewhere, but no, I can definitely deal with a lot more than I used to be able to. And I think I've learned to channel my energy and my optimism in a different way. Rather than trying to just shelve things now, I'll try and deal with it as best I can. I don't always do that. I can't say I've got over the fact that I've got cancer, but once you sort of know what you're doing, you know the treatment route, you kind of just deal with it then every day. Although it might be a struggle, it's just another day.